watch from afar in amazement as you sell out the Enmore. It's just so impressive. But sometimes I'm listening and you'll pass through a football comment that makes me laugh so much. The one about about an Indian team not being, what was it, first, like, you know, you haven't, all the accolades you've got and nothing until you see Harley Reid's training facilities. Yeah. How aware of you are of football?
Yeah.
Do you like football?
Yeah. We low-key, like, I think our... I try not to say it in a corporate way, but we have a unique story insofar as, like, we're both from Sydney. We've moved to Melbourne, and because we've both grown up loving all sports, but now we live down here. Like, I've been here for 12 years. Hugo, I've been here like 3-4 years.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, just the week before
in time
lockdown.
for COVID, yeah.
No, it was the week off.
I moved here the week
you were
before
like,
lockdown.
just please get me down.
Yeah. That's what it was all about.
Yeah.
Sucked.
So we have observed the different cultures in the way people enjoy sport. And, we low-key love Aussie rules way more than we let on. And are into it a lot more, but you do notice it is a highly myopic provincial game where, like, the drawbridge opens up in closes in March to September and October, and it just becomes like Eddie Maguire SEN land, and no, but we love, like, there's you got to embrace it. There's a charm to it, and so we know, like, we've just loved from afar, because we're not native to the sport. Grew up watching it, like, went to the Swans mid-90s to tell you all about it.
Wow.
But like, from afar, everything gets related back to Aussie rules. Like, anything around the country that is not Aussie rules related, or around the globe. And, like, we used to, like, love watching SEN Twitter be like, who is the greatest athlete of all time? And it got down to Michael Jordan versus Steven Silvagni. And we're like, this is the best. You know, so, like,
I think Sauce knocked out Ali as well.
In
the prelim.
Got him in the prelim, yeah. And so, like, we've always enjoyed making fun of that a little bit. But, you know, by the same token, we so most people who listen to our cricket stuff would think that we just shit on Aussie rules all the time. But, like, we actually... we both grew up going to the Swans, which, you know, that's still obviously you're
bourgeois.
Exactly. Exactly.
Very
You're never native. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, it was in a box and everything.
Oysters at the footy.
Yeah. No, we talk about it a lot. So yeah, that's the relationship. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. What do you? What's the differences in what's the differences?
Well, it's a sickness here, bro.
Yeah, people are perverted about footy.
I like playing golf, right?
Right.
And when I play with people I don't know, the conversation will immediately turn to footy, because that's just like it's a thing that connects all of us, right? Everyone has a footy team, especially down here, and, like, I can see, like, the colour drain from their face when they ask me who I barrack for, and I say the Swans. It's like it doesn't count. Yeah. It's like that's not a real team. It has to be one of the Melbourne teams, the Victorian teams.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it does not count.
Yeah.
It needs a VFL.
It needs a VFL lineage,
backdrop. Or
even the South Melbourne history of the Swans.
Exactly.
But, like, that doesn't count.
But there's huge differences. I love it. Like, so I think Aussie rules is, like, at its best, it is the most exhilarating game in the world. It's the best organised sport. It's easily the biggest sport in Australia, but by a super distance to rugby league next is becoming like a duopoly. I think cricket has, like, shrunk its season to 3 or 4 weeks because of how big footy is generally.
Opening round starts.
It's opening round, of course.
Yeah.
But like, Aussie rules it's serious, it's earnest, it can be humorless at its worst, but it's so tribal. All of the you have 7 clubs stretched across, like, 10 kilometres of Melbourne. People just love it. Like, my wife is, like, less than neutral about sport, because she grew up with the Saints, so her dad loves it. She barely watches it, but we used to go to the footy, and all of a sudden she knew the players' names, like, out of nowhere. Yeah. Come on, Cozzy, Milne. She's my wife is a doctor. She talks about births where, like, nurses put Geelong beanies on kids' heads and stuff, and the parents are getting upset because they're not Geelong fans. Whereas where we grew up in Sydney, rugby league is based, like, Sydney is based on alcohol and gambling. That's how the city was built, and so is rugby league, and low level criminality. It's naturally funnier. Like, it's more larrikin in that sense. It's you have to use humour as a coping mechanism. Like, there's seven humour stories about rugby league this week will be funnier than the funniest cricket story in the summer. So like, it's just funny. It's just nice to contrast.
I genuinely believe that the geography of the cities changed the way the sports themselves are supported. So like the MCG, it's placed within the city and its proximity to Richmond and like the corner hotel is the closest pub, right? Like that experience of going to Richmond before the game, people come from all over the state to come to the MCG, but it's so connected to the city. So in Sydney especially, like people always complain, Sydney's very cliquey. Well, Sydney is cliquey because it's very hard to get around. There are little enclaves everywhere. It's basically one road in, one road out for all the, like from Manly to Bondi to Parramatta.
They don't cross the bridge,
people don't really travel. And so where the SCG is, for instance, in Paddington, that's not particularly easy to get to. And then that's where we get into like the Homebush, the Olympic Stadium. That's a fucking nightmare to get to, get in and out of. So and it doesn't have the same culture, of course, with like the lockout laws in Sydney fucking killed the nightlife and any sort of drinking culture. You're treated differently by bouncers in bars in Sydney. These things all, I think, play a factor in the following and like the match going experience, because AFL, like you go to the G, it's just a fucking great day out. You start at Richmond Club Social, whatever, and then you end up at the G. Then you go to the corner afterwards. Like it's a day out, and people who don't live on that side of Melbourne of the Yarra, you can still go there and congregate there. There's not really the same experience in Sydney, I don't think.
The only other place I can think of Australia where I've felt that is Adelaide now at that oval. It's so good.
Best ground in Australia.
That bridge, is that your favourite?
I'd say so. Yeah. That experience for cricket, I've never been there for a footy game. It would be amazing, but for cricket, I think it's the best experience.
Oh yeah, it's funny talking about the different ground. Talking about the MCC again. I used to hate cricket. I couldn't watch it. I picked my scabs. I stopped playing. I picked my scabs in the outfit and bleed, and then get taken off because I was bleeding everyone. But then this is when I like
Broden's picking
get
again.
me out of here.
They're literally removing flesh to get off it. And then when I started working, then I was 18. The 5 fucking days working 14-hour shifts in the MCC, where you just like would be people's dreams to stand on the front of the long room and just watch the cricket. Like for 2-3 years, just killed me. And then I went, I'm gonna have to like war or like torture. I was like, I have to force myself to like this. And then it slowly revealed itself to me in like a flower blooming.
Was there a thing? Was there one thing, or was it that?
I think it was South Africa winning in 2000, maybe 8 or 9 in Australia.
Yeah, I remember that.
Used to be this all the time.
And I remember going, okay, and then very slowly started just talking. Then the conversations with just some of the most crazy people I'd ever met. These men who would go, like these rich old men who would go around Australia and use their reciprocal rights to get into every venue and talk to them about their life and be fascinated, but also afraid and ashamed. Like just like they're like, this is what I do. I trust, and I go to Lords, and then I go to Manchester, and then I come here and I float around. It was a fascinating, different world of people. But I'm excited to hear that you have a love of football, because I think you're leaning into more sports. I said something, and you don't have to wear this. But I said to Paddy the other day, you are this generation's in a very different way, but just in the where you culturally are sitting are a kind of a Roy and HG for where this generation are coming through and having someone to talk about football. You're the outsider, other voice.
Oh, thanks. I mean, I won't wear it because they're the kings. So
absolutely.
Really, like it's a higher amount of pressure.
And still around doing stuff. So,
mate, they're amazing. I
the
listen to them every week, and how they, I mean, I guess they have really pioneered sports comedy and satirizing like the bullshit sheen of like rights holding broadcasts that people are subjected to. You know? So and they're two guys with like enormous comedic chops, and John Doyle's a playwright, and like they're guys who like they don't live in the like myopic like one track world of sport where like that's all they read and know about, so they can bring so many other things into it.
There's a suction right with sports where, because we have like a mantra we say before shows now, because in that first year of doing this, there's this suction that starts to make you want to take it really seriously. A vortex where you go, I really got it. And you got to keep pulling yourself out and go, no, this is bullshit, and it does not matter.
Well, that's what we've found really. Like, our worldview on all of it is that like sport is two things. It's what happens on the field and all the talk that happens afterwards. So like, all people want is a companion or a narrator with whom to enjoy their sport. They love it, and like whether they want an ex-athlete who's wearing a suit, not saying what he or she thinks,
Yes.
protecting their friends, but the production is really good. If they want that, so they can feel a proximity to someone who used to play, and they occasionally say like athletic words, that's fine. You know, that they can let that wash over them. Some people, more and more, particularly with the internet, it opened it up. You know, they want a little bit more like something rawer or, you know, more comedic with it. And yeah, we've done that, and you know, it's resonated. A lot of people have liked it, and you know, it's great. You know, you're doing it, Dan's doing it in footy. It's good to see in Aussie rules, especially.
Yeah.
And so, you know, long may it continue. Just giving people choice around what the narrator they want to accompany them with the game.
Footy feels, sorry, Broden. Footy feels much harder because people have such a deep love for it, and it's lineage to your family and stuff. Whereas cricket, the experience for a lot of people love cricket as well, but it's a summer pastime. It reminds me of your childhood through like going to the beach cricket, backyard cricket. Maybe your dad took you to your first game or whatever. But it's not as intensely followed, as intensely scrutinised. You know, it's like, how good was Warney? You know, and he was good.
I forget about cricket, and then December comes and go, oh yeah, I like this.
Yeah,
And then
that's exactly what it is.
It's Christmas, it's New Year's, it's
a break from the footy.
Second day turkey and ham, and
That level of Inception where at the end of footy there's like that, you know, in the bottom level of Inception they're really old men, and he's like, I remember you when I was a young man, and he starts to remember all these things. That reminds you when cricket, they're batsmen and bowlers and MCG.